everyone, it's Sarah. I'm back to share my classics challenge journal that I made for the challenge that Nikthebooksmith is having. It's due tomorrow, so I wanted to get it up today. So this is my journal. It ended up a lot chunkier than I wanted. There is quite a bit of ephemera inside, so you can take it out, and then, you don't have to worry about it being so as chunky. It still is. So, I made the front door to kind of look like a garden, a secret garden door. I had this in my stash that I found, so I put that on the cover. I made a little opening door here with a little metal filigree and a rose on top of that. I made a little hinge right here, and then I hung this little leaf charm from this jump ring. And then on the spine, I put Secret Garden. I printed this out on transparency, and then I backed it with some cardstock, Tim Holtz cardstock. We're supposed to try to stay under 10 minutes. So I just used seam binding, crinkling seam binding as the closure. So, this does open up, but since my journal got chunkier than I wanted, you're supposed to be able to see the quote from inside, and it got a little chunkier on me, so you don't quite see the whole thing. So you open it up, and the quote that you would see is, if you look the right way, you can see that the whole world is a garden. And then this lifts up, and it's a little journaling spot right here. And I got this idea from JibidNeary on YouTube. Go check her out. She has an awesome channel. A seed packet, little seed packet. I have a couple tags. On the back side of the window, since I cut out the door, I put this piece of transparency that looks like a garden. I don't know if you can tell. And then I just framed it. Did a little Franken page on the front here as well. And I had a piece of leather that was like it was this color. So it was like a greenish brownish color, and I just thought it would be perfect. So I just cut it at an angle and layered that on, and then I layered this trim around it. So then this has 6 signatures, and throughout it's just highly embellished. So if you've never read The Secret Garden, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about it as I go through this journal. So this is Mary. She was born in India, and her parents were wealthy, pretty much ignored her all of her life. She wasn't really wanted. She was taken care of by her, I think they called them Adalas. It was basically her caretaker. And they took care of her. Like, they were told to keep her out of her way. Like, keep her out of their way. They were business people. Her mom went to a lot of fancy parties, and she didn't want nothing really to do with Mary. So basically, they raised her. All the people that were basically their servants raised them. So I made a library card. I don't know if you can tell, but I made that myself, and that just goes in the pocket. So this is a picture of her going on. Basically, her parents ended up dying from the Claria. I can't probably not pronounce it right, but anyway, it was a huge outbreak, and it was a disease that attacked your intestines from like drinking bad water. Clearia outbreak. So both her parents died. She was left alone in their house. She was found, and her only living relative was her mom's brother, and he lived in England. So she got shipped out there, and uh, Miss Medlock was sent to get her. She kind of looked like that, as described in the book. And this is just from a book I had. I just cut them off and put them in here. So she was the main housekeeper of Misselwaite Manor, and it was a huge house. Had like over 100 rooms, and it was kind of pretty much like a castle or a mansion. And so that's where she was to go. Miss Medlock had red cheeks, very purple dress, black silk mantle with jet fringe, and a black bonnet with purple velvet flowers. So that's a description of her. This is just a made up look of what it would look like, I thought, close to the house, Miss Waith. So then in the house, it was described it had a bunch of old furniture. So I just printed out some digi-stamps of old furniture. I just put them in here for like note-taking or journal taking. It was also described to have a bunch of photo frames up on the wall, so I just added this old cabinet card in here. It's Tim Holtz. That's a little pocket here too. And then, so when Mary got to Misselwaite, her uncle did not want to see her, Mr. Craven. He did not want to see her. He was going on a business trip, and they were told to take her to her room, and he didn't want to see her. So her caretaker ended up being Mrs. Martha, or Miss Martha, and she was to take care of Mary. And when Mary was growing up, like I told you before, she I don't know where that fell. They did everything for her. They dressed her, they fed her, she's 12 years old and they did all this for her. So Mary wakes up the next day, and here's a piece of her dress. She's from India. She was born there, so there's a piece of her dress. And when she wakes up, all she can see is, she describes in the book as, just tapestry all over the walls. And there's people and horses and women dancing, and they're dressed really nice. So that's the image that I found, and I just printed it on vellum, and then I put it on this fabric like floating pocket, and it has a pocket in the back, and then you can flip this open and journal on it. So that's my reputation of it. I couldn't find any tapestry like that, and any pictures that I found were like, I don't think I could have used them. They were probably copyrighted. So this is the picture of the moor that you have to go across to get to Misselwaith Manor. Right here, I made a paper clip like Jibid Neary shows. And this opens up, and that's just like a little journaling pad. And I stitched and sewed all of that. And what this basically is this right here is one of those packages from Tim Holtz that your stencils would come in. So I just backed it with some copy dyed muslin, and then I just stitched all over it. Put some trim at the bottom. This is just a journaling card, and that's graphic 45 stamp. It's a little bird nest paper clip, This right here is another digital. You can flip it out, take it off. Okay, and then here is the gardener. And this is Ben Weather. Let me see. I think it's Weatherstaff. And he maintains all the gardens around there, including the garden that Miss Craven started, which is called the Secret Garden, because when Mary has a cousin named Colton, and when his mom was alive, Miss Craven, Mr. Craven's wife, she actually was out in her garden and she was pregnant with Colton, and she fell out of a tree in the garden and she ended up dying and Colton lived. So he has always taken care of the gardens, and he's always been her gardener. So he stayed on to take care of the gardens. Now, his only friend is a robin. So the robin, Ben, was Ben's only friend, and he said he was a cheeky little beggar, the friendliest and cleverest bird to live. The book, to speak robin to a robin is like speaking French to a Frenchman. And this is just a die cut. Dickon was Martha's brother, and he was a naturist. He loved to be out in nature, and he had a wolf that was friends with him. He had a black crow that was friends with him, even the mice. But he had 2 gray squirrels that were really good friends with him too, including the robin. This is Mary talking to the robin, and the robin shows her where the key is. And so now she's on the hunt to look for the door to the secret garden. There's a watering can on this charm. She meets Colton. And Colton is Mr. Craven's son. He was born, and his dad was pretty much neglected him as well. So him and Mary had a lot in common due to the fact that he didn't want anything to do with the son because she was a representation of his mother, and she looked a lot like him, or he looked a lot like his mother, so he didn't want any remindance of his wife. So this is Colton. He had a secret picture of his mom, and so it was under a piece of it said like maroon or ruby red fabric, so I put that. There's a picture of his mom made up. And then his dad would always be on business trips or out of Mistletoe. He didn't want to be there very often. It reminded him too much of his wife, so he would always send postcards. So that's a postcard. It's a pocket, but it's also a shaker, so you can shake it around. And I just did some stamping on it. Mary, she found the secret garden, so she was on the hunt for that, and she finally found it. And she told Dickon, and she told Colton, so then they got Colton, and they took him out, and they took him to the secret garden. Colton grew up thinking that he was going to be like his dad, which his dad was hunchback, and so he had a fear that he was going to be like his dad, and he wouldn't be able to walk, and so he was always in bed, and so that's why he's in a wheelchair. Here is memories of his mother that his dad kept. Just an envelope, and because roses were her favorite, and so that's a stash that his dad had kept away. And that one image is from this image right here. It's from Mrs. Cog. I think her yellow garden. So this vellum in here, I put this quote up here, the secret garden, what Mary called it when she was thinking of it. And then this is a pocket, and then I just put some fabric and some roses. That's a pocket right here. And then there's just an envelope with the charm. And then this is just a little book. This is the actual cover of the original book. And then these are original pictures from the book. These are all in the public domain. And then in the back here, I put some journaling cards back here. And here's another bigger picture of what the So, even though this is a chunky journal, it does lay flat, and you can still write in it quite well. So that's that, and I'm going to show you the charm. This charm right here is a paper clip that's hanging on the side, and it has a bunch of beads in it and a little flower. So pretty. So that hangs on the side. So all these charms mean something. Here's the secret key to the garden. There's a crow right there, some leaves. This is the fox. And then I just got some basic charms on here. And here's a rose. And then these long dangly ones here. They have a rake, a shovel, a dragonfly, and if I can get it not the tangle. So then this charm right here, there's a heart, a bird, a rose, 2 squirrels, and then this robin nest I made myself with beads and wire. Isn't that cute? I love it. And then I just have this big charm on there. There's a bird bath, another bird, and another leaf. And there's a bunny charm on there. So yeah, these all mean something in the book. And so I hope you guys liked it. This is what I come up with. And I will be back with another one. Thank you, Nick, for an awesome challenge. And please let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe. And I will see you when I see ya. Later.